guys.
Howdy, brothers.
Welcome back to another episode of Whiskey and Water.
Another episode, and probably one of the very few left of in-person
episodes, you guys. We're going back to quarantine COVID times to our remote episode recordings.
Yep, we're going to be recording from different time zones, different coasts, and end of an era.
I don't want to talk about it. Anyways, today's episode is with our good friend Bousquet, Kristen. She is thebomb.com. You guys may recognize her. She may sound familiar because we've had her on the pod before. And she is back again for a second episode with us. And of course, we absolutely loved and adored this conversation. She is just such a badass. I love her.
Guess so nice. We had to do it twice. I just took the mic from Olivia to say that and only that. But yes, it is such a great episode. And she actually just recently released a course. So of course, we had to have her on to talk about the course. Because as you guys know, your girls are also course creators. So it was a really fun conversation and just really aligned for all of us. And she just has so many cool things going on. It's always such a refreshing conversation.
Yeah, and she's transitioned into being a creator monetization coach, which is super cool because her course is all about her anti-pitch method, which is a really unique stance. And Jess and I are already like, yep, we're buying that for our assistant because it's so unique and it's really, really cool. We also both have created our courses on the platform Thinkific, which is super cool. And she tells us how she got her partnership with Thinkific using this pitch method. So really, really cool stuff. Like this is one of those conversations where Jess and I feel like we could have just talked for 4 hours with her because like she gets it and she's on the same wavelength, and it's always really refreshing to talk to creators who have more going on, who have businesses, because it's like, okay, you get it more than anyone else when you're trying to be a full-time influencer and a podcaster and have your own agency and sell digital products. So it's really, really great conversation. I encourage you guys to listen all the way through, and we also have a discount code for you guys if you're interested in purchasing her course. And we were on her podcast, so we did a little pod swap moment. So definitely make sure you guys listen to her episode. We talk a lot about the course, a lot about delegation, mostly a lot of tips for influencers who want to start thinking about hiring an assistant and fun things like that.
But as you know, before we get into it, we have to discuss some things. We got to do a little catch up.
Squirt, squirt.
And she goes, oh, squirt. And of course, we have to do our highs and lows. So let's get into it. Let's start with a pro tip. Okay, I could not think of my pro tip. So Olivia gave me my own pro tip today, which was inspired by my hair appointment earlier. My hairstylist was kind enough to go to the salon, which only stylists can go into. Like you can't just walk in there as a civilian. What? Yeah, it's only for stylists because it's like major discounted. Like show your ID or something? No, she didn't have to do that. But they knew her. Like when she walked in, she was like, "Hola, ¿cómo estás?" And they were like, "Hey." So yeah, she walked me through. She showed me the exact toners and the exact formula that she uses. I got the little fucking squirter bottle, the gloves, everything, so that I could tone my own hair. Because in LA, because she knows I'm not about to be fucking cheating on her. So in between, when I'm out of town for a few months at a time and can't come back and see her, I can just tone my own hair. And I got like a bunch of shit. Like I got 3 toners, the bottle. I got the It's a 10 leave-in. I walked out for like $40.
What?
Brother, it's because they get 50% off on like any like retail product. Yeah, and they had everything in there. I was like, this is a slay. So that's my pro tip. If you are homies with your hairstylist, make them take you to the salon centric, and so that you can get the hookup, because that shit was fire.
Slay. Okay, my pro tip is, it's actually a journal prompt that I used before and brought back this month because I loved it so much. And I don't know where originally it came from. I don't think I made it up. I might have found it on Pinterest, or maybe I am the original creator. Who knows? But the prompt is, it's ideally, you're supposed to do it in the morning, but it's, what are 3 things that I want to feel today? And I share that because I feel like that has really stuck with me. And it's like a prompt that really makes a difference and kind of like it makes a difference in my day, because throughout my day, I'll check in with myself and be like, okay, have I felt that? So it could be love, it could be gratitude, it could be presence, it could be joy. It could be anything you want, but I think there's so much power in starting your day with intention like that, especially in like less about what I want to get done and more about how do I want to feel today. So I love going into the day with that. And then at the end of the day, literally being able to say, okay, yes, I felt love, gratitude, and patience today, or whatever it may be, or peace today. So I think that's super cool, because I have been able to reflect back on my day and be like, oh, I had a good day. Like I felt all the things I wanted to feel. So yeah, that's my pro tip. Let's get into a little bit of catch up, shall we? So not much going on here, except a lot going on here. We have Jess kind of getting geared up to head on over to the West Coast in like T-7 days, which is so crazy. I just got, and she'll elaborate on that more. I went to North Carolina to look at wedding venues with Tyler this weekend. And I'm so glad we did that. I'm really, really happy with that decision to go. And I'm happy he came with me, because at first I was like, oh, I can just do it alone. And that would have been like the worst thing ever. So I'm really happy he came. My high, I'm just gonna, whatever, to catch up / high and low. My high is that I found my venue, you guys. After 4 years of being engaged and a year or two of talking about planning a wedding, but not actually planning a wedding, I have found my venue and hoping to put a deposit down today and lock in the date, which is so crazy because the date is today.
Yeah.
Next year.
Dude.
Serendipitous. How crazy is that?
How many times is the universe?
How crazy is that?
Yeah.
Not to mention 420, we lit. brothers, hear it here first. I'm not gonna like publicly share that, because why would I? But yeah, I think that's gonna be our date. So crazy, you guys! What is happening?
Fucking 420, fucking blaze it, brother.
Let's blaze!
We're gonna be having. It's gonna be stupid. It's gonna be stupid. Like, yeah, the brothers are invited. There's gonna be a table of just blunts, J's, bowls. Yeah. No, 100%. No, it's going to be so good. And it just feels so crazy to me, because like, I don't know, like you've just been engaged for the last 4 years, and it's like, and people are like, oh, like, what about Olivia? I'm like, yeah, she's engaged, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're going to be married.
He's gonna be
like my best friend's going to be married.
have a husband?
Yeah. Scary. Weird. You're old. So exciting though. And the venue is just, and guys, how crazy is it that she's doing the wedding in North Carolina, where I literally grew up? So everything is just so serendipitous. It's so funny and just so fun. I'm so excited. I'm probably going to spend some additional time up there as well, and probably like go to Wilmington and Hampstead and see all my peoples, because, you know, Megan will have closed on her house there. So yeah, lots of exciting things happening. And then, yes, as she told you guys, on my end, I have just been gearing up for this move. Actually kind of preparing, like, instead of like doing it like the day before. So that's been crazy. And yeah, like I've been having people like come by from Facebook Marketplace and like walking them through my entire house and being like, take this, take this, take this, take this. And like, it's such a scary and also freeing feeling. Like even our project manager, Krista, came today and like took a bunch of pieces, and like it's just weird, because it's like, there are pieces that I have had in my home for years and years, like pieces that I thought I would always have and stuff. And now I'm like parting ways with them, and it just feels so interesting. But I welcome the feeling. And I posted it on my close friends the other day. I posted like, I'm feeling weird about like letting go of all my pieces. And so many of my friends like responded and were like, you're making space like for so many new amazing things in your life. And I was like, this is like what I needed. Like everyone was so supportive, and it was just really nice. And I'm excited. Like it's gonna be big, but like I feel like ready for it. I feel organized. Like I know exactly what day like the movers are coming. I know exactly what day my car is being shipped out. I know exactly what day my flight is. I know exactly what day my movers are coming to LA. I know exactly what day my car is landing in LA. And like it's just like all really happening. Yeah. It's happening in less than a week. So I don't know. It just feels so crazy. Like there's boxes on boxes in my room, and it's just such a surreal feeling.
Yeah, Chris, actually, we are at the storage unit today because we are doing our mood spring boxing next week. You guys will see it. Well, actually, we're doing it tomorrow, but you guys will see it over the weekend, us posting about it. So that's super fun because that's always a really fun project that we do over at Mood is our like influencer gifting, seasonal gifting box. But anywho, my point in saying that was that I was at the storage unit with Kristen and she was like, "So are you sad? Like, how are you feeling about just moving?" And I was like, honestly, she already knows when she's coming back. Like she's coming back in a month. So it's like if you were leaving for like 6 months, I wasn't gonna see you for like 6 months, or I wasn't gonna see you for a year. It's like, bitch, we're not going anywhere. Like we're not going anywhere. That's why that's like making it so much easier because it's like I'm gonna see you next month. You know what I mean? Like it's all good.
I've been having like moments where like the other night, some person came by at like 10 p.m. and like they picked up a bunch of shit. And then I was like just like sitting in my living room, like no music, no TV. Like I have my TV, but like I was just sitting there like vibes. And I like, it felt so empty. And then like I started thinking about like the fact that I'm really leaving. And I did have a little mentee bee. And it's because it's like if I sit still for too long, it does feel weird. Cause yeah, and like, it's hard because I want to like give myself the grace to like have the space and feel the feelings, but also like keep it pushing. Cause I'm like, okay, am I feeling the feelings or am I like staying in the past? You know what I mean? Like, where's the fine line of like moving forward, but also appreciating, like what was had. So it's been interesting to navigate, and I've been trying not to dwell on things too much. And I'm also wondering if that's just like me, like, pushing my feelings, a coping mechanism. Exactly.
Yeah, I also think it's important to note for like our brothers listening, like this is your first real move. Like this is your first real big adult move by yourself, So that's like always really interesting. Not to mention like pretty far, you're not just going like moving out of a house or moving out of a state, like you're going across the country. So it's pretty significant. And there's a lot of coordination. There's a lot of logistics. It's emotionally, it's a lot. It's a whole different coast. Like you're going from the East Coast to the West Coast. It's big, but proud of you. Yeah, you should be proud of yourself because it's a lot.
I'm just really excited to like have I'm also doing like, I don't know, I'm just doing like a life glow up right now. I feel like my place in LA, it's like so beautiful. And I feel like once I get there, I'm really going to like treat it as like my home and like really allow myself to like sink into it and like settle in, which is like not something that I've ever done in any apartment because I've known I wasn't going to stay there. You feel me? And like, I don't have any intention of moving from that place for at least another 2 years, ideally, God permitting. And I'm really excited. Like it's just like the style that I have over there is going to be like entirely different from what I have here. Guys, I got the most beautiful vintage couch ever. She's like a bright orange Togo style, if you know Togo. It's a sectional. It's just like the couch of my dreams. And I'm like so excited for it to be there. I'm excited to like do shoots in the apartment. I'm excited to like put it on Peerspace. I'm excited to like bring people there and like have like a creative space. Like I'm just fucking stoked. I think it really is going to be transformative. And I'm just kind of excited to see where where it flows for me. You know what I mean? But let's get into are you ready for our high and low?
So I kind of shared my high already, which was that I did find a wedding venue and like that whole process was just very much a high. Tyler's now excited about it, which is a high for me because this whole time he's kind of just been like, sure, whatever, like don't really give a fuck. And now after that venue, I could tell it like really like lit a fire in him like imagining everyone there and our loved ones. And the cool thing about this venue is that there's like cabins on property. It's more of like a compound, which is what we've had in mind this whole time with a destination wedding. Is like we want it to be a weekend. We don't want it to be like one night and then it's over. Like, and the venue we picked is perfect for that because it like really just is perfect for that space of like, just everyone hanging out and making memories and just having a good time. So he's super excited and that makes me happy. So that's already my high. My low is just that it's been a pretty, like with the traveling and with so much happening, it's been a very hectic week and my house has been collateral damage in that. Currently have just shit everywhere and it's stressing me out. But it's okay. That's temporary. But if I had to pick a low, it would be that my place is a mess, and like just having a puppy adds to the mess. And then we had like really bad flooding, if you guys saw, in Fort Lauderdale last week. So like every time the dogs go outside, every time they come back inside, it's a mess. Yeah. So there's just a lot of like compounding factors of why my place is a mess right now. But it's okay. We're gonna get it together this weekend.
Okay, my high is that Olivia, Anna, and I did our live Q&A yesterday. We had done one previously that I think we told you guys about. We ran it back, did our second one last night, and we got 7 sales on the live, and then we got one more today. So it's like, it was just so cool seeing how many people showed up versus the first one, like what kind of like implementing like what went well for the first one, what didn't go so well. Like like even just our growth from one live to the next, like it was palpable and it translated into our bank account. So you love to see it, and it was just so cool to see, and like just getting paid for your hard work, and like seeing people like being excited about like what they're doing, and like us being a part of that. And like, guys, we've gotten like such amazing feedback in the last few weeks. Like, I think we've been just like so blessed. Like, people have been so happy with the course and like getting jobs, and like we've been having so many influencers reaching out to us looking to hire our people. Vanessa messaged me this morning and was like, I want to, can I hire one of them? So it's just been really, really amazing to see, because, the alternative is like, God forbid, like people hated the product, or people like were unhappy with it. Like, and it's just obviously like that's a huge risk that you take when you do something like this. And, like people are putting a lot of their trust in us. So it's just really cool to see that they also believe in what we're doing, because obviously we believe in it wholeheartedly. So that's definitely my high. Really just excited to see where that goes, and excited to make money, because we deserve that. My low, I don't know if I really have a low, guys. Things have been good. I would say, if anything, it's that like my place is like chaotic, and like piece by piece it's like getting more empty, and like I can't like live in it anymore. Like someone took like my entertainment center last night or the night before, and I had to like take everything out of it, and now like it's on my kitchen island, like all my like little like random fucking knickknacks. So I've just got to like set aside some time to like pack all that stuff. But my place is definitely chaotic, but I'm not like allowing it to stress me out. I'm just like, because for what? It's only going to get worse. So I would say that's my low. But other than that, things have been so good. Very happy with life and where we're at right now. So yeah. And I've been noticing that I'm like happy lately. And, like I reflected on a few like months and weeks ago where I was like really like just in like a dark place. And like, I think that was kind of like post relationship and stuff. I was like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? And like just feeling like weird and bad. And I don't know if it's like just like the move, but like, I don't know. I something to look forward to. Yeah. And I just remembered being in a place where I was like, does it get better? And like, it does in your head, and you like kind of wait for that, but I'm here now. Like I'm in the better now, which is, and I think having so much to look forward to. Yeah. And having so much to look forward to, obviously, definitely helps. And I think just honestly getting out of South Florida is just the move for me right now. Like, not to say that all the trauma I've experienced happened here, but like it did. And I just feel like removing myself from this and like, yeah, exactly, snipping that emotional cord for the time being, and like really allowing myself to thrive in a new space that like no one's ever hurt me in, like is gonna help me a lot. So I'm excited for that. And I feel like once I do come back to South Florida, I feel like I'm gonna be more myself, like more, just feeling a little bit more grounded, and just like, ready to thrive here eventually.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it too, because it's like, it's literally energy, and it's like where you've been in these relationships, where you've been heartbroken, like all that energy is like stored like physically in the space, and like, it just is, and like you subconsciously are like absorbing that too. So I think it's so great. I'm so excited for you, and I'm happy that you're feeling happy about it. Sorry for the long intro, but lots happening here, lots to fill the brothers in on, and we know you're gonna love this episode. So like we said, stick around to the end and enjoy.
All right, guys, we are live with Miss Kristen Bousquet. Is that how you say it? Did I say
Yeah,
that? Oh,
that's good.
nice. I definitely thought I butchered that. She is a creator monetization coach, and you might recognize her voice from a previous episode of Whiskey and Water where she hopped on with us, but we have some really fun updates. So we are going to get all into it. But for our audience who is new and uncultured, tell them a little bit about yourself and what you do. Just kidding, guys. Love you.
Thank you guys for having me on again. I'm excited to be here. So yeah, I am a creator monetization coach. I didn't used to be a creator monetization coach, but I would teach just Instagram and influencing in general. But the more I worked with creators, the more I realized they don't know how to run a business. You guys create really great content, but sometimes figuring out the contracts and the negotiations and invoicing and all of that kind of stuff can be very confusing, understandably. So my big focus is really to teach creators how to build those long-term relationships with brands and do all of the back end running of their business so that they can make more money, hopefully.
Period. Honestly, I loved our last episode with you, and I'm so happy to have you on again. I think you can provide our what? Yeah, I think like we maybe had one other person, if that. You might be the only one, so period. But I just
Wow.
feel like you bring so much value, and I see you as such a thought leader in this space. So I'm super excited to have you on and to discuss all of the things, and also discuss a project you have coming up. But we'll get into
Yes.
it. So I would love to know, just any updates you might have since the last time we spoke. I think it was about a year or two ago. So yeah, fill us in on any updates you have within your business, whether it's, new projects you're coming out with or digital products that you might be selling. Give us a little update since we last sat down.
This is my shameless plug time, I see. Yeah,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
perfect. I love it. I love that I have a lot of time for this. This is great. So basically last time we talked, honestly, a lot has changed in my business. I have really taken a hard look at my offerings and my services and tried to find a way to make them more sustainable for me because typically what my days used to look like was just me on calls literally 9 to 5, like all day long, talking to creators. And while it was a lot of fun, I didn't have any time to get to my to-do list. And a lot of the logistics of my business were difficult for me to take care of because I just spent so much time coaching. So what I did was actually overhaul all of my services. And so we created a membership program where it's a little bit more, not necessarily passive income for me, but what's really cool about it is that the structure allows for me to have as many people in the membership as possible, but it doesn't really make more work for me the more people who join. And so that's been a really nice kind of structure for me because it's almost like I'm creating content for a bunch of people and I can kind of have like this endless you know, like influx of people coming in and I'm still able to just like make money that way. So our membership is really fun. It's a lot of good information, a lot of value, but we also have like a strong community. So we get on we call them date nights. So once a month we get on date nights. It's where we all just get on Zoom and kind of like hang out and talk about all of our struggles and experiences and all kinds of things that we're dealing with as creators, and kind of like educate but share experiences. And then we also created a new course. So that's our other kind of big offering right now. It's called Brand BFF, and it's really just a self-guided course that teaches you how to create more long-term consistent partnerships with brands without having to send like 100 cold pitches every week because I literally hear people doing that and I don't know how they are.
It's us. We're people. Our assistant. But before we get into that, because I definitely want to deep dive into that. I mean, one sounds like something that we need to take and invest in. I want to know a little bit more about the membership. So what's your target audience for that? And kind of what do they get out of this membership?
Yeah, so we honestly have creators of all different sizes, but it's creators who either feel like they need someone to lean on, like they need a community to lean on, or they need a little bit of education. Like maybe they just need someone that they can ask a quick question to and they don't really know where to turn, this is a really great opportunity in the membership. So kind of the benefits of the membership, first of all, you have access to me and access to the community. So we have like a bunch of community forums where like if you got an email from a brand and you were like, I do not know what to say in this email, like I don't know how to respond, what do I do in this situation? People are sharing screenshots or like, you know, all kinds of stuff in there, and they're like, guys, what do I do? I'm always in there answering things, but then a lot of other creators will be like, oh, I got the same email from this brand and this is what they offered me. And so it's kind of like you get like the inside scoop, I guess, but you also get so much education and just community to lean on. We also have this whole like database of resources. So there's like tutorials and templates and ebooks and guides, like all kinds of great resources for people to kind of refer back to. We also do those date night calls. And then we also have this collaborative brand email database. And so I think I checked the other day and there was over 200 brands in there, but it's all just collaborative. So anytime someone works with a new brand, they go and drop in the email and the contact information in there. So we can kind of all utilize it as a group as well. So it's really like everything you need. But
it's so smart, especially if you're like just starting out and kind of like lacking that community aspect and almost need like a big sister of the industry to kind of guide you in the right way. And it works so well for you because instead of people like blowing up your DMs, constantly asking for free advice and free help, you can just redirect them right there and they have like access to a slew of information. So that is so smart and literally love that. I want to put our assistant in it right now.
Yeah, no, we're literally going to buy your course for our assistant and also buy your membership for our assistant. I love that so much. And yeah, I think it's especially for someone just starting out who might not have other friends to talk to who are also doing this. Like I always think like we're so lucky to have each other as sounding boards when we need to like run a brand deal by each other. And then, you know, we've, of course, over the years have gotten like a group of friends, especially in South Florida, who do what we do. Right. But for a lot of people who are just starting, like they might not know anyone else who's trying to do this. So I think that alone, I think is so valuable, like, and worth it in and of itself. I would love to also, before we get too deep into the episode, I want you guys to know that we are doing a pod swap. So go ahead and listen. Kristen also has an amazing podcast that you guys should definitely not be sleeping on. So we actually just were on hers and now she's on ours. So make sure to listen to that episode. I really appreciate how transparent you are. And like, we're big on that as well. It's one of our values. And I see that you've been doing something lately, like 60 seconds of transparency or something. Yeah. I would love for you to talk about that for a second.
So there's this guy, he's one of the co-founders of Marketing Brew. His name's Alex Lieberman, and he does these 60-second pitches where he has a brand or whatever business come on to like a video chat with him, and they have to like pitch their business in 60 seconds, and he posts them and he's like, oh, would you guys invest in the business? And I love watching them because it's so cool to see so much info packed into 60 seconds. And like, I just loved the format. And I was like, I wonder how I could do this in a way that would be really beneficial to my audience. And so it's called Creator Currency. It's just a little social series that we're doing on Instagram and TikTok. I'm like so tempted to make it a little bit longer and turn it into like 5-minute podcast episodes or something. But for now, it's only on socials, but basically it's 60 seconds where I'm asking a creator, you know, how much did you make last month? What's your highest paid collaboration? How much are you pitching? How many pitches are successful versus unsuccessful? Just to kind of give creators like a more, again, transparent look at what other creators are making and what their kind of pitching process looks like. Because I think it's, again, like we don't always have the community or like these creators that maybe look so like, you know, big and successful, like maybe they're only getting 10% success rate with their pitches. And it really like makes you feel a little bit better, you know, about maybe 100%. A situation that you're in.
No, and Liv sent me one last week and I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like to hear even some of the statistics, because, you know, certain niches of influencers, like, you know, we're just like in different like ball fields. What is it? Playing fields? Ballpark and playing fields. We're just in different, like, you know, different levels and different things. And it's crazy to hear that like for one of the people that you had on last week, it was like 90% of their brand pitches that they do reach out to them versus 90% of the ones that we do, we reach out to, which is just, it's just crazy. And it was like really eye opening to see. And we've always loved the transparency that you encourage. But kind of moving into the course, we're all course girlies here. Love this for us. I would love to talk about what inspired that and kind of what your how your journey has been, because I mean, we obviously know what it's like and we share about the course so much on the pod. So would love to just, and you're also on Thinkific, which is where we have our course. So super fun.
I was just going to ask.
Yeah. Our course is also on Thinkific. Awesome. Love them. Sponsor us, Thinkific. But I just kind of want to talk about the journey, what inspired you and kind of how that's been for you.
Yeah, when I was kind of going through my offerings last year and figuring out a way to restructure them that made sense for just like my life, I wanted to have something that was self-guided, but had all the information in it. And again, the community, so that they really are getting everything that they need. So basically, for our course, what I kind of focused it on was a framework that we created called the anti-pitch method. And the reason I did that was because I felt like so many courses from, coaches who are teaching how to make money on Instagram and things like that are saying a lot of the same things. And I think that doesn't necessarily work for everyone. So I experimented for honestly almost all of last year with this new framework. And what I did was I don't think I pitched at all last year. Like I think maybe 1 or 2 pitches I sent the whole year last year.
Wow.
And yeah, I was like, crazy. I don't have time for this.
That's crazy.
So, and it worked really well for me. And I kind of brought in a few of my members from my membership to kind of try out the method as well. And they had a lot of success too. So that's what we created the course around. And basically the anti-pitch method is not necessarily, there's still work that goes into it, obviously, but it's just not the same amount of work as like finding all of these brand emails and like finding a billion different brands to work with and, copying and pasting the same pitch and just changing 1 or 2 things. Like, because again, I think for a lot of brands too, like they're getting so many of those emails that it's like they all look the same. How do you really set yourself apart in them? I think that can be difficult for people. And so this framework is more about like networking and really just building connections so that when there are partnerships or campaigns that come up and the brands have money to spend, they're like, oh, perfect. Like we should get Jess on this one. Oh, like Olivia would be great for this one, because they already know that you exist. And it also feels like a lot less aggressive too, because I think brands are just getting bombarded all day with pitches, and they're, like for someone to come through and just be like, hey, I love what you're doing. Like, I'd love to just hear what goals you have for your marketing this month, have conversations and be like, cool, awesome. Let me know if you need anything. Like that feels like a breath of fresh air versus like a pitch that hits you in the face and is like, yeah, let's work together. Like, give me your money.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, I love that so much. And I think it's actually so smart. And it's funny because now that we're having this conversation, I remember our first episode, the conversation was a lot about building relationships with these brands. Yeah. So I think that's so cool that that's kind of what you've really chosen to dive into and kind of put a spotlight on, because it's so true. Like, they, especially people who have been in these positions for a while, say, they're like influencer manager at a big company. It's like they literally see these emails every day. Like it's not going to stand out. And you're probably not going to be top of mind when they do have a budget for the next campaign. So I think it's so smart. And yeah, it's less salesy too at the end of the day. It's less like transactional in a way. It's genuinely just like trying to network. And I'm sure on their end, it's like you said, it's refreshing. It's like, okay, they just want to touch base, see how we're doing, and want me to keep them in mind versus like, hi, pay me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And even like, some of our longest standing partnerships are from people who have hopped from company to company. Like you really develop a relationship with the influencer coordinator or the marketing manager. And then when they go to another company and that company has a fat ass budget and you have a good relationship with them, guess what? Now you're working with them. Like the girl who we worked with with Celsius for like the longest time is now at a new company, and now I'm talking to her about a new campaign. Like that's just how it works, and it's really cool to see.
Well, I mean, the thing with pitching is like you have to be the right creator for the right brand at the right time for the right campaign with the right product. Like there are just so many moving parts. It's like, how are you supposed to pitch a brand and have all of that line up? It most of the time doesn't happen. And that's why typically for most creators, and this is something we talk about like in creator currency, is like how many pitches are you sending versus how many responses are you getting? Most of the percentages are very low because most brands are like, "Oh, we just finished using our budget," or
Yep.
"We don't have a budget right now." Like, and if unless you're on the back end and you know about the budgets, which
Right.
you probably don't, then
Yeah.
like how are you supposed to pitch and know that they're even looking for anyone to work with?
Yeah, so true. And I also, something that we noticed is that you made your course on Thinkific. And not only
Yeah.
did you make it on Thinkific, but you're actually partnered with Thinkific for the
Yes.
course, which is like goals. Like when we saw that, we're like, slay, such a slay. But, and I believe you use your anti pitch method with Thinkific.
Yes.
So fill us, yeah, full circle moment. Fill us in on that and like how aligned that partnership was for you.
Yeah. I mean, it really was like such a full circle moment. So I had known that I wanted to do the course and I had done a lot of research into different platforms. And so obviously when I looked through, I was like, Thinkific seems like, you know, the best price point for like what I'm getting and for what I need. And so what I did was I actually, again, like used our framework. I did an organic post where I was like, here are, you know, I think it was like 5 uh creator tools that like maybe you've never heard of before. And I was like, Thinkific was one of the ones that I listed. And I was like, oh, you know, they're a really great place if you're going to be building a course or you have digital downloads, whatever. And so I mentioned them organically in this post. And that's something that I talk about a lot with the anti-pitch method is like, I know no one wants to work for free, but, and you don't have to do like an entire dedicated post on Thinkific, but I just mentioned them being like, hey, I like you guys. Like, I like what you're doing. I'm recommending it to my audience. Took me 2 seconds, no work, you know, like not a big deal. And so that was the first thing I did. Then I went over to LinkedIn and I connected with the influencer marketing manager there. Basically sent over the post and was like, hey, you know, just wanted to share this with you. I posted, you know, Thinkific as one of my top 5 creator tools because I'm building my course there. Super excited about what you guys are doing. Just wanted you to see this. And again, like I wasn't in there like I love you guys, pay me, like, let's
Yeah.
work together. And he responded and was like, oh, wow, like, that's so awesome. I want to, you know, get on a phone call. Like, let's chat. I'd love to hear, you know, your thoughts on what you're working on or what we're working on, whatever. And so we ended up getting on a call and on that call, they were like, oh, you know, because we're so aligned, like clearly you're into what we're doing, we'd love to partner with you. And so I sent them a proposal that was like, here are all of the options of what I see working for us partnering together. We ended up doing 5, it was like a 5-part series for TikTok. We also did a video in I guess it was like September of last year. We'll do another one this year. And it was like a 5-figure partnership. So plus I was able to again like organically be hosting my course on Thinkific and everything. So it feels really good for my audience.
That's
So and
badass.
because of that long-term consistency with the partnership, it's like I have people who ask me about Thinkific now because they've seen it so many times.
Mhm.
Like even just you guys
Yeah.
knowing that I host there, you know what I mean? Like, it's because I've been able to partner with them for a long time, so you guys are getting that repeat exposure, and it's actually, like, sticking for people.
Yeah, of course. Like when we saw that, we were like, "Oh, that's sick." And I think when we saw that you were partnering with Thinkific, it might have been before we had even decided on Thinkific. So, I mean, it was just it was really cool to see, and we were like, "Oh, well, we're headed in the right direction then." So,
Good, that's
no,
awesome.
that's so sick, and like just even I think that's kind of like the dream partnership, right? It aligns with exactly what
Right.
you're doing. You're also getting paid for it. Like you're not just doing like a trade where you get like free access to the platform, which free access to the platform is incredible as it is
Still
because it's,
great.
I mean, launching a course is expensive, it's, you would think it's like not, but it's a 5-figure investment as it is.
Yeah.
So that's just so cool to see. And the fact that you used your own method was insane. And to kind of circle back on what you had mentioned, do you feel like LinkedIn is like as creators, we don't really use LinkedIn. Like I actually just recently updated my photo. Like, I think it was last week, because I was like, oh my God, what? That's an old ass photo. Like, and then I updated my work and stuff, and I was like, let me get into this. Are you going to say something funny?
Yes, my LinkedIn account is from it was actually an assignment that I had to do in college, was make a LinkedIn account, and I have not logged in since. Really? Yes. So I know that's something I'm totally sleeping on. And literally, if I logged in, it would say it would have an old picture of me from college, and it would say that I'm a college student and that this is a project. And that's the only reason I'm making the account. So would love to pick your brains on that and see if that's something that creators are really sleeping on.
Sleeping on for sure.
Yeah. She's bestie, come on.
Wake up. So with LinkedIn, it's actually a huge part of what I teach in the course. If you go through my course and you're not making a LinkedIn, you're not going to get the full, LinkedIn is a huge part of it. Mm-hmm. I mean, the cool thing about LinkedIn is that's where you can just straight up connect with CEOs.
Yeah.
Where
you have direct access.
Right.
I find guys and this is a little off topic, but I'll be Googling some guy that's trying to take me out. And the first thing I'm creeping is his LinkedIn. Cause that's, you get all the information you need.
I mean, I want to know where you work.
Yeah, exactly.
LinkedIn is, it's a great place to connect with people that you would probably never have the opportunity to connect with anywhere else. It's also obviously the most professional of the social network. So when you are talking business, I think it's the most appropriate place to do it, because especially if you're trying to connect with the influencer manager at a company, they maybe don't have another Instagram account besides their personal one. And it's kind of feels very intrusive to go into someone's personal Instagram account and be hey, let's partner together.
No, it's don't contact me here. This doesn't work.
Exactly. Yeah. So LinkedIn is definitely the most appropriate place to have those conversations, but it's also just the most informative and the easiest to connect with these people.
Yeah.
So it's honestly literally the biggest social media platform that I talk about when it comes to actually using the anti-pitch method. Yeah, you should probably log back in.
Yeah.
Change it
so we'll be putting that on our to-do list for this week, and I hope our listeners who are creators themselves are doing the same. And go buy Kristen's course, because she'll teach you all about it.
It's true.
She's I will, I promise. I would love to talk a little bit about, I noticed something that you were doing, which was you created a new Instagram account and you're testing that account. Ew. Yeah. Do you want
Okay, so I'll give you the context and I'll tell you where I'm at now.
Okay.
So I've had my Instagram account since 2011. I actually looked the other day and saw when I made it, 2011.
Same.
So I've had it literally since the inception of Instagram. And I have sometimes an issue with reach. I feel like my videos just don't reach anyone.
You're preaching to the choir.
The same group of people always, which love those people. Thank you for always watching. But also I'm just how do I have
more people?
This Yes, you guys are the people. Yes. And I'm glad it's reaching you. That's amazing. But also I'm just I have 20,000 followers. What about the rest? And so I had a few conversations with people who also have had their account that long, and they said the same thing. And so I was I wonder, I haven't had a video go over 10,000 views, and just I can't even tell you the last time. And even growth has been very difficult for me as well in the last couple of years. And this is actually a huge reason as to why I switched what I was teaching. I don't think I want to ever teach about growth or, reach and things like that, because I could tell you to do everything right, and it could still not work. And then who are you going to get mad at? You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. So my idea was okay, I'm going to start this new account and I'm going to post the same stuff in this account as I am on my account and see what the difference in performance is. That hasn't shown me any good results. I haven't proven to myself that I was onto anything just yet.
Yet.
I also will say that I have neglected that account as well. I got a week into this experiment and I was just this is so much work. And is it really worth it? I don't know. So that's kind of where I'm at now.
Yeah. And I think that if you were to test that theory, I think it would probably yield a lot better results on TikTok than on Instagram. And I've been in that space where I'm like on the verge of making a new TikTok account. Not to say that we don't already have one for Whiskey and Water, Socially Ambitious, Mood, and ourselves, but I feel like I want to just start another one and see what the performance looks like, because I mean it varies so much.
So the reason I bring it up is because that is something that Justin and I have talked about so often, is mostly because we see these new creators popping up with like super high engagement and their reels are like blowing up, and we look at each other and we're like, it's our account and our dead audience. I don't know like where these people went, but they are dead. They are not here anymore. They have left the group chat. Right. So when I saw you doing that, I was like, oh my God, yes, I'm so excited to follow this experiment and see, how it works out. I personally feel like it would work, with some time, like at least like a month or 2 or 3. So when you hire your new assistant, she can help run it for you.
I was just going to say, like after I go through Socially Ambitious and hire my IA, then we'll talk about it again.
Exactly. Okay, cool. We'll keep you guys posted on that. Circle
put
back
that on my hiring form.
Yes. Yes, exactly. We'll circle back with that update. Another thing I would love to bring up is I see that you have rebranded yourself kind of, and you talk a lot about rebranding and showing up inspired versus burnt out creatively. And I think that is something that a lot of creators struggle with. So I'd love to just briefly touch on that as well.
So I previously, all of my posts were like creative photography. So I would go out and I would, take 5 outfits out with me, drive to different locations. And this was like a full day thing that I would batch create, my content every Saturday for the next week. And obviously, like I loved doing it. It was a lot of fun, but it was also a lot of work. And I noticed that like where things were going with video and kind of the shift in content that was performing well, it didn't really like align with what I was doing. And so as I kind of had that thought, I was like, okay, so do I lean more into the coaching part of my business instead of like this creative photography? Because that was like a big, I guess, like decision for me to make, because I was making money as an influencer, making great money working with like lifestyle brands and whatever. But then I also had my coaching. And before, it used to be that most of my income was coming from influencer stuff. But I was getting like, again, like burnt out on going out every weekend and doing these shoots. And like, if it rained, I was like, oh, what am I going to do? Like, it was just like a big point of stress for me. And it started to get to a point where I like wasn't super excited about doing it anymore. Really like doing the talking videos. I knew that's where content was kind of going with video. And so I was like, let me lean into that and see what happens. So what I did was I basically did one shoot. I'm trying to do these quarterly. So in December, I did a shoot where I just brought like 4 or 5 outfits and I shot a ton of photos in a studio. And I've literally been using those photos as my cover photos for like, I think since December. And I've just been like alternating them, and they look so nice together, and it's like very well branded and everything, but it's literally like no work for me. I haven't gone and taken photos since that day in December, which is so different for me because I was going every week. So like next week I'll do my kind of like spring version of that shoot, go into the same place, bring my same branded kind of like different outfits, but in my brand colors. And I'll just do updated photos so that I can have another, 3-4 months of real covers. And then I just kind of use those photos and then record the videos separate. So it's been interesting, but I really like how little effort I have to put into it. It's just a much more sustainable way of creating content for me.
We love that so much, and I think it speaks volumes about how important it is to take inventory. Like that's like a common theme on our show, at least, is like if something isn't feeling right, or or even if something is feeling really great, like sit down, take inventory. Like, what are you enjoying doing? What is burning you out? And I think that's so important. And also the beauty in what we do is that we can make those choices to rebrand, to do things differently. Like we can sit down and, as much as that's a lot of pressure on someone and it's kind of a lot of responsibility to know that like the full weight of your success is in your own hands, it's also so freeing because you can make those big decisions like that, and you can evaluate what you're finding joy in and what you're not. And I think what you did, like that pivot in your business, was just working smarter, not harder. Because not only is it more sustainable for you now, but it's also what's working better on the platforms. So like it's a win-win.
Yeah, and it was scary for me to do because I was like, well, if I stop doing all of this creative photography, are these brands going to stop reaching out to me? And then I'm not going to have my typical income. And it was like, as I was making the transition, it was slower with partnerships. But I think now that I've made the full transition, now my income has swapped to being a majority of my income coming from coaching, because a lot of people are coming to my page and I look so much more like a well put together, like trustworthy expert, and it's not to say that I don't do brand partnerships. I do, but I'm working with like less amount of brands on like longer term partnerships that are more aligned to like speaking to creators who are trying to run a business. So like I'm working with like a very specific type of brand, which honestly performs a lot better for them too.
Yeah, no, it works so well because it works for you and your audience and your niche, and it works for them because they're not going to work with people who aren't in that specific niche as well.
Right.
Yeah, I love that so much. I think it's a really great like evolution of your creator journey. And for us, it's super inspiring too, because we are at this place where we're still making a lot of our income from our partnerships, and as we scale the agency and as we scale Socially Ambitious, we're in this very what is it? I always say this wrong. Limbo.
Yeah, limbo.
Yeah, we're always in this limbo. I mean, we're currently in this limbo spot of being both and having our toes dipped on both sides. But we are hoping to transition more into like the business owner and kind of reap the benefits from those things that we're doing, and less of these like, one-off hair products and like, the random stuff that we do that, we obviously enjoy, but it is time consuming, and we've been doing it for a long time. So, it's like, it's only so many serums we can share about.
I mean, that's very true. But at the end of the day, like, I think it is a very scary decision to make, but I think it's natural that your business is going to evolve. You know what I mean? Like if I look at what I did on Instagram to make money 5 years ago, I'm glad that I've evolved. I don't want to do that anymore. And obviously as we grow as humans, like our lifestyles are going to change, our likes and interests are going to change. So it makes sense that your business is going to evolve as well.
Yeah. And like your hobbies change, and like where your businesses are at changes. And like, these days, like where it used to be that we were putting 70% of our time into our influencing and then 30% into mood in the podcast, it's now 80% all of our businesses, 20% influencing. And so like naturally what we feel more inclined to share about is, what we're spending the majority of our time on, like it's our businesses. And even, like with the podcast and everything else, it's just like, this is, we rebranded the podcast, what was it, a year or two ago? 2 years ago, from a lifestyle podcast to a female entrepreneurship podcast, because that was simply the direction that our lives were taking. And like we've even said, like down the line, this is going to be a fucking like motherhood podcast, because guess what? That's what our fucking lives are going to be at some point. So, I think, and again, that's part of the beauty of what we do in this field is we are our own bosses, and we get to call the shots on what we want to do and what inspires us. And of course, we place our audiences in a little bit of like a jeopardy in that, but as long as I think we're being authentic, the true supporters will stay. And if anyone else chooses to go, they can go, and we'll attract new audiences that are currently aligned with us. I think that refraining from evolving is such a scarcity mindset, because like there's so many people out there for you to reach that you haven't reached that yet, that you're going to inspire and that are going to be inspired by your content. So don't be afraid of change.
Yeah, exactly. It's inevitable. And I think it is very scary, but like if you don't do it, then what's the cost of you being in the same place right now in a couple of years?
Totally. Yeah. Speaking on abundance, I'd love to wrap up this conversation with this last note that I have. Something I'd really admire about you is that I do feel like you are in such an abundance mindset, and even like, you know, creating that community of creators who are transparently sharing their rates and sharing emails with each other. I think that's really cool because it's easy for people to look around and see others as competition, especially in this field. I think especially if you're new and you don't realize how abundant and lucrative it is, to be like, oh, you know, I don't want to share that contact with someone else and whatever it is. So I'd love for you to speak on the person who is just maybe getting into an industry and is a little hesitant and feels like other creators might be competition.
Yeah, I think it's easy to look at other creators as competition. I think sometimes I still do it with like
Struggle.
certain creators that
Yeah.
I'm like, you're so similar to me. Like,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, like you are the secret sauce. You know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah.
something about you that even though you're super similar to another creator, maybe you have the same style of content or you talk about the same things or you have the same follower count and engagement and all of that, like you are still a completely different person. And I think that's why the anti-pitch method works so well is
Right.
because like you're able to really make a connection with that person. And like now when they're considering, you know, this fashion influencer or this fashion influencer and they know you as a person because they've had conversations with you, it's like they're going to pick you, you know?
So
So
true.
being like open to sharing your personality, I think is one of the most important things on social media. It's because it doesn't matter what you're talking about half the time. Like people want to get to know you
Totally.
and brands want to get to know you. And I think that's when people see the most success.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that, like, even though you share so much business and coaching content, you also share like about your foster dogs and
So
your
many dogs.
relationship. Like, I think that's great. Like, that's what people need to connect with, you
Yeah.
know? So I'd also encourage our audience to like not be scared to show, obviously, you know, have your boundaries in place. There's
Yeah.
a time and place for everything. But I do like as a consumer of content, that's what I enjoy seeing. You know, we go
Right.
online seeking that connection. We want to feel connected to the person on the other side of the screen. So definitely don't shy away from that. Well, you guys, this has been such a good, inspiring like conversation. I'm so happy to have you on for the second time. Like, could not be happier. We'll have you on anytime you want. If people want to learn more about the course and your offerings, where can they find out more?
Yeah, I would say DM me. I would
Yes.
direct people to my website, but I really like to, again, like
I
have
love that.
conversations with people and be able to direct them in the right, you know,
Yeah.
direction to one of our offers. Cause honestly, they're all so different. And I think there's one that's perfect for you, but I like to get to know people and figure out which one is best for them. So send me a DM and yeah, thank you guys again so much for having me on. I love hanging out with you guys.
Yay, we love it. And when will you be releasing the course? Do you have a launch date yet?
It just launched. Yep. So
Just
it will be
did.
by the time this is live, it is ready for you.
Let's go, brother. We're buying it. Thank you so much, brothers. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure to tag us, let us know that you are listening and that you found this valuable. And we will see you on the next episode. Bye.